Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life. There comes a point in our life that we hear this calling, asking us to step more into the amazing person that we are. It's asking us to step beyond the beliefs that we've built through our lifetime. It's asking us to step beyond the thoughts that come from those beliefs. It's asking us to step beyond the stories that we continue to tell ourselves. And because we've told that story so much, others tell it back to us. And each of those stories, it ends up limiting us, keeping us from being all that we can be. Every one of us has light to shine out into the world. We're part of the whole light, the universal light. And as we step into our calling and become more of who we are, share more of what we and who we can be, we open ourselves up to even finding more of our light and then being able to shine even brighter on our journey. I'm with JJ DiGeronimo today. JJ is a two-time award-winning author that helps women raise their frequencies and empower their future impact through tried and tested strategies, mindfulness, and energetic practices. Formerly a leading woman in the tech industry, JJ now passionately strives to help women gain more seats at more tables by sharing the key findings that have helped her and many more. JJ, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
I am.
I'm so excited to have you here today. As we were speaking before we hit the record button, there's so much that we have in common. And I think the direction today will be so helpful for so many people because we have these callings, but sometimes we worry about what those callings will do to us or what people will think about them. So I can't wait to share that with you. But before we do that, could you share a little bit more about what you're doing in the world and what kind of difference you're making?
Oh, thank you so much, Vince. Yeah, so this was definitely not my plan. I had very much hoped to stay in the tech industry, but my inner voice had another plan. Oftentimes, we encounter things that turn our lives upside down or shake us in a way that we're not ready for. And during those times in my life, I was pushed to seek, I was pushed to learn, I was pushed to explore. And each of those stages brought me more internal wisdom and also more questions. And I think little by little, through my human design and some of my birth chart, I really am here to bring forward new ways of living our light, living through our work, and investigating what's not working for us.
Awesome. What's your human design?
Oh, my human design, I'm a generator.
Okay. Okay.
And I have a dear friend that really dives into all the gene keys. And mine is really to trial and error, where I go out and figure it out myself. And then I bring back my findings to others to help them on their journey.
So awesome. Um, I moved the backgrounds that I podcast in front of, but you'd see the gene codes, the gene keys, excuse me, and human design. I'm a Manny-Gen, so uh, I know some of the tough parts of your life, and I know some of the amazing parts of your life as human design. Let me ask you this. You said that there's some things that shake us up. What kind of shakeups, what kind of wake up calls did you have that moved you from the tech industry into truly being a light worker and truly helping people see the inside and start to love that part of them?
Well, Vince, it's been a decade of shakeups, I should say. You know, when I became a mother, that was a shakeup. When I was moved into leadership, that was a shakeup. When I wrote my first book, because I had learned all this wisdom from women that I wanted to share with my own daughter, that was a tower card and shook things up for me. I took a solo trip for my 40th birthday that brought new levels of insight. When I became an entrepreneur, all my self doubt associated with my corporate role, my corporate title, my corporate salary, you know, basically shifted me into a stage of really doubting who I was and what I had to offer. And as I look back on different things in my life, at the time, they seemed, heartbreaking, difficult, anxiety driven. But in retrospect, I see that that was just the way the higher purpose, God, the universe really is repositioning us to get on our path.
Oh, so amazing. At Imagine Miracles, we share that that higher self, that non-physical part of us, is constantly creating circumstances in front of us to help us learn and grow and develop those gifts and talents to truly make a difference in the world. And as you shared, there were so many steps along the way for you. Which one of those was the one that was really okay? I've got to show up different in the world.
Oh, well, I will say that our relationships we choose often harbor our biggest lessons. And so mine came through my family members, through my significant other, and through my business. And I feel like it really was when my dad got sick, I had a crack in my marriage, my business wasn't going the way it was. I mean, it was a full-fledged tower moment for me, that I don't know if I was ready for, but it really is what drove me to mindfulness classes and to tapping to sort of figure out, why do I have all this anxiety? Why don't I have enough joy in my life? Why do I feel so incredibly unsettled?
So when you started EFT, the process of, you know, first of all discovering yourself and then releasing and then replenishing yourself, what was that like for you? Because it's I know what the world of corporates like. You're in this mindset. It's a little bit different world. You have to flow with a lot of the of society's beliefs, and now all of a sudden you're ready to start releasing some of those and refilling you with some that definitely empower you. How was that for you?
Well, what I went to tapping and EFT for was, what my current state was at the time at my work and life. But what it brought me back to is my childhood and the stories that I created as a child, the memories that I saw and held on to from my parents' marriage, what I was praised for, and how all of those milestones created a talk track in my head that sort of had me locked into what I thought I was. And I had to really break down some of those stories to say, is that true? Do I need to still be listening to that story, similar to Byron Katie's work? Do I need to carry those stories with me moving forward? And what I learned was, a lot of those stories were no longer serving me, and I needed to create space for more love and light so that I could then really reposition myself and my energy in a more loving way.
I like that you said that they no longer serve you because, you know, all of these stories and all of the circumstances that we created have led us to develop some amazing gifts and talents that really make a difference in the world and truly make a difference to ourselves. But then there is time to let it go. And unfortunately, not too many people tell us that our beliefs aren't real, that we can form new ones that are more empowering to us. So as you started forming your beliefs that started to empower you, and you noticed that mindfulness and there is another world outside of Newtonian physics, that the world of energy is really essential to understand and bring into our lives. As you started to realize that, and you started to grow and expand, I really would like to talk from a place of helping people understand that it's okay to grow and expand. It's okay to call yourself a light worker. And I would love to get it from your perspective, because for me, some of the things that happened in my life, it was really difficult for me to come from a man's man into what do you mean you believe in talking to your guides, and what do you mean that as energy we create our lives? How was that for you as you started the process? And then I'd like to go a little deeper.
Sure, sure. Well, I have to say, it's just been over the last about 12 to 18 months that I've stepped into that title, light worker. It started probably years ago, but I didn't really realize that's what was happening. Well, how it really started is I had to get clear on sort of the stories I told myself. And the mindfulness actually gave me the tool to understand what I say to myself on a regular basis, the stories, the ego energy. And it took me a long time, over 3.5 years, to really figure out how to move and shift my focus from my ego energy to my soul energy. And for some people, you might be thinking, well, what is that? Well, the way I view it is that what we come down with into this body, we are essentially teardrops of the bigger light. And that is our soul energy. Our soul energy is our makeup of, how we think, what we do, why we do things. It's really the energy that comes down from above into the body that could have a lot of history with it. That is engulfed with our ego energy that comes with our body to protect us. And I think that most of our life's work is figuring out how to get your soul energy to shine brighter and more boldly than your ego energy. And so that was like the premise of the work I had been doing for a long time, well before I even sort of stepped into this light worker title and work that I'm doing today. And I think for many of us, just understanding that separation of like that head energy, the stories we tell ourselves, how we make decisions, what often fills us with fear and doubt and discomfort, is like figuring out how to compartmentalize that so that you can let your real light and life's work shine through.
Oh, there's two ways I would love to go with this, and we've got 30 minutes. So which way do I go? Uh, the interesting thing is, and I would love your opinion of it, because you've done this mindfulness work. Well, one of the things that I've heard and read a lot about is that many in the psychology world believe that the stories that we tell ourselves, by the time we've been telling the story for 4 or 5 years, it's already 60% worse than the true story. Have you found that to be true?
Well, sure, we just build onto it, build on, build on, build on, and then we wrap our fears around it. And oftentimes it keeps us in a holding pattern. In fact, if you think about your friends or your family or your significant other, think about their goals and then think about what they say about why or why not. Why would that happen, or why can't they do it now? We often determine our next step inside our head before we ever do anything, because we have so many stories of what's worked in the past, and it really is a protection mechanism. But my question is, what stories can we let go of, and how much do we really have to protect ourselves?
Exactly. Amazing. And the protection is really part of the collective consciousness. Collectively, especially in the US, the first place we go when any opportunity shows itself is, why won't it work?
Yeah.
We go right to that place first. And our brain, first of all, will always find a way through in the file cabinets of it on why it's going to be at least difficult, and then probably help us find why it won't work. But then, like you shared, our ego personalities, our sub personalities, especially, who don't want us to step into something unknown because it's kind of scary, they're all on board with, no, that's not going to work. You don't want to try that. Just stay where you are, be happy. When that happens for you, when you start hearing those voices, when you start remembering your stories, where do you go with that? How do you start empowering yourself?
Well, the first step Vince, is you have to be present. If you're focusing on the past or planning for the future, you're never going to hear those stories. You literally have to be in the present moment. So when you're making a plan or deciding something you're going to do, you need to be sort of investigating how you're talking to yourself and what you're saying. So when I do a lot of keynotes, I'll often say, where do you want to have more influence and impact? And have the women write it down, men too. Now write down what is the first thing your mind said. What's the first thing your mind said? Because, like you're saying, 9 out of 10 times it's like, oh, not yet, not now. But there's often a silver line of hope, like when you get this or when you do this, then you can do it. But that line continues to move. And so many of us have high hopes that we never really step into because we never give ourselves permission to. And I think being present and understanding how you talk to yourself, which is really how the mindfulness came into play for me, which I started the course 3 times. It took me over a year and a half to actually do the course because I thought I was too busy to learn mindfulness. And it has been a can opener for me in so many ways of just really understanding who I was and the fears I lived within. But once you understand that present moment, then you can stop the thoughts. Like you can physically say, like, I got this. Thank you, ego, but I got this. I'm going to move forward. And I even like Jen Sincero's You're a Badass. She says, I just tell myself I'm going to see. Let me see what I can do. Because then it unravels the pressure of being perfect, getting it right, doing it all at once. And I like that advice. Let me see what I can do because it allows you to move in the direction you desire.
Our ego, and I want to remind the imagination of this, our ego is our operating system. We have to have that operating system here on earth, but the programming that's gone into it over the years, we don't have to follow. Like Mary and I say in our book that we just released, my ego was operating under grandpa's rules. And I just followed grandpa's rules for the longest time. But there comes that point where we wake up to, wow, we're more than this. And we don't have to follow rules. We have to follow laws, the laws of the universe, and even the laws that are created in the communities that we live in. But we don't have to follow the rules that we've put on ourselves. We can't blame other people for giving us the rules because we chose to accept them. Unfortunately, as a young child, we're pretty much a sponge and we just accept whatever. But as we then realize, wait a minute, this isn't working for me, what kind of techniques do you share with the women that you work with to start breaking down those old barriers that are internal and start rebuilding?
Yes, yes. And I hear a lot of people do this. There's so many women coaches. I love them. And they really work to say, okay, what is your thought? Is that thought true? Do you need to listen to that anymore? I sort of take more of a energetic or spiritual approach to it. I sort of say, I do a lot of like, let's see where I'm at. So let's tap my toes, let's tap my fingers. What am I thinking about right now? Okay, then I say my idea out loud. Now, what am I thinking? Sometimes I take my idea and go outside and I say it out loud to nature as though I'm getting their permission. And I would say so many times I hear the birds chirp more, the sun rays shift, the wind picks up. And so I feel like I'm more in collaboration with the universe when I'm doing my work. And I often encourage women to sort of say things out loud in nature, really sort of feel like I am with you, you are with me, we are doing this work together. And for me, it just empowers me so much more beyond myself sitting at this desk because I feel like I'm working in collaboration with the universe and nature to make it so.
Perfect. I mean, it's amazing because what you just shared was a wonderful way to get into the present moment. Because we see and we hear what our body's programmed to hear if we're living in that subconscious. And what boy, scientists have changed so much over the years. I think now they say 95% in the sub or unconscious and 5% conscious. And if we can learn to be conscious, be in the present moment, it's huge. And that's what you just shared with us. So that's so awesome in the way you shared it too. Do you have other ways to help people get into the present moment?
Yeah, one of the other things I love to talk about is lassoing your energy. This is something that came to me a couple years ago when I was trying to just get out of my head. And I've listened to many meditations on YouTube, and I just always am trying to figure out how can I really engulf the energy more in my heart chakra. So where I'm working for love and light rather than my head where I'm processing and evaluating and, strategically aligning with my fears or trying to run against them. So I like to just sort of close my eyes, feel my feet on the ground, sort of sit up straight while I'm at my desk. And I just say, if I'm feeling a lot of anxiety or I can't do that energy, or I just feel like my energy or what I'm hoping to do doesn't really feel like I'm being supported by my mind, I literally lasso the energy. So I go up in my mind and I find sort of that frustrating, anxiety ridden energy and I lasso it. And I slowly just pull it down through the back of my neck into my chest and I plop it right in my heart chakra. And by visually doing that and just thinking that through, it is one, amazing how much lighter my head feels. And two, how I just feel like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. And it's something so simple that I do right here, just like I did with you.
I know that there's some people that listen to this podcast that are saying, well, that's really great. You visualize yourself lassoing the energy and pulling it down into your heart chakra. But I don't think a lot of people realize that when you close your eyes, when you tap into the universal energy, it's not just seeing it in your mind's eye. It's actually happening. You're actually moving that energy by consciously paying attention to it and consciously putting it where you want it. And I think it's important that we all realize that we are powerful beyond our belief. And when we step into the quantum world, when we step into the energy world, and realize that you said it so perfectly, you're the teardrop of the light. We like to use that you're an energy stream of the universal energy. When you realize that, now we have all the capabilities of the universe, and it's just that we've never been taught that we have them. When it comes to energies, what would you say some of the practices are that we all need to grab on to and hold on to?
Well, two of them that I do in addition to the lasso is one, if I feel alone, if I feel scared, if I feel like I'm running uphill by myself, you can do this while you're laying down, while you're sitting in a chair. I literally think about the top of my head opening up and the energy up from above, the pure white light from above, wholesome and guided from the universe, really streaming down through my head and filling up my entire body, section by section, with the white light all the way down into my feet. And when I do that, I don't know, I just don't feel alone anymore. I feel like I have access to a loving energy anytime I want. I just have to open up my head to receive it. And oftentimes in doing that, it pushes some of that negative energy, dark energy down into the ground. And like my friend Heidi Bright said, she's an editor of mine for my third book. And she said, you can push that energy into the ground and it will be mulched by Mother Nature for new birth and new growth. And I feel like you can channel in and out energy into your body as often as you'd like. And when you get used to it, you can do it pretty quickly and you often feel so much better in a matter of seconds.
It's truly vibrational changes. And you know if you look at science and you understand energy from a scientific point, energy is constantly unfolding into our existence and enfolding back into the creative energy that's out there. And we've got so much help around us. Like you said, Mother Earth, Gaia is there to help transform that energy from a place of A lot less judgment, a lot less, shall we say, beliefs that are disempowering us than we have. One of the exciting things that I had, I'm a clear conscious channel, as the imagination knows, and in one of the channelings, it was shared that you don't have to worry about Mother Earth. Mother Earth is well capable of taking care of itself, and actually, Mother Earth is what's helping you stay grounded in the 3D. So that's so powerful that you shared that. Could you share one example of the difference that you've made in some woman's life as she was working with you?
Well, I do a lot of one to many. So I get really interesting emails or texts, sometimes 2, 3, 9 months later. Because of you, I sidestepped my doubt and I applied for that role, or I signed up for my PhD, or I started a business off the side of my desk. I think for many of the women that I meet, I share my story, which often gives them permission to step further into their story.
Well, it's so true. Uh, The most that each and every one of us can do in this world is be all of who we can be. So as that example, it lights the way. It actually shows the path for others to take that step. Believe it or not, we're getting close to the end of our time, and I think we could probably talk for hours. But could you share just one piece of guidance that you want to make sure every single person takes away from our time together?
Yeah, so I wrote 3 chapters of this in my new book, Seeking, and it's about the frequency of money. Money is such a big challenge, opportunity, something that holds people back. And I feel like for me, based on my upbringing and where I was, I gave money the wrong energy. And I think for anybody listening, if money is the reason you're holding back from stepping into your whispers, if money's the reason that you can't step out in a way that you want to or have been thinking about for a long time, I would suggest that you really look at your money stories, but also start to look at all the abundance in your life. Because the more you focus on abundance and what is coming your way, from a penny in the parking lot to an unexpected amount of money to someone who hasn't paid you back but maybe finally did, that abundance focus will really allow you to view money as more of an opportunity and a frequency to drive what is important to you forward. I think for many of us, we use money in the wrong way. And for a lot of us, it holds us in spaces we don't want to be in anymore. And so this is one of my biggest lessons I've had to go through. So much I had to write 3 chapters about it. But I really focus on a quote that I got from my friend Beckett. And it says, "Get rich from the energy you create and exchange." Get rich from the energy you create and exchange. And I think that shift was one of my biggest profound lessons that maybe we can go into another time, Vince.
People don't look at money as just energy, and it truly is. Of course, everything in the universe is energy, but the exchange of energy is so important, like you just shared. Could you share with us kind of your process of that understanding of abundance, and then how you find gratitude for your abundance?
Yeah. This lesson is one that I feel like I'm still learning in many ways, but it was the catalyst a long time ago. I read the book by Lynn Twist, The Soul of Money, and she just really has such a way with words about how we don't have enough of anything. We don't have enough sleep, not enough money, not enough this, not enough that, and we live in a society of not enough. And I think for any of us that may be experiencing that, the first thing to do is to start a gratitude journal. I know Oprah's been talking about this for decades, but I really feel like when you are more focused on your abundance and everything that is available to you, you start to shift not only your focus, but what comes to you. And I do believe that there is a frequency. And if you are elevating at a 92.9 or a 96.9, the easiest way to increase your frequency is to change what you focus on or what you're grateful for. And that abundance in your life will really help you elevate your frequency and energy so that you are ready to receive more abundance, because the universe is only going to give you more if you appreciate what you already have.
For sure. And as I've shared many times with you, imagination, that some of the highest vibrational emotions you can have is gratitude and appreciation. And when you appreciate what's in front of you with that higher vibration, what are you going to attract? The things that you want, the things that are looking for you at that higher vibration. JJ, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Our conversation could have gone on forever, but I appreciate what you've shared because I know it's going to change lives. And thank you so much for what you're doing in the world.
Thank you for the opportunity to spend this time with you and share some of the nuggets that we've experienced. Thank you, Vince.
Where can people find out more about you?
The easiest place is jjdigeronimo.com or on any of the social platforms, JJ DiGeronimo. And they can check out my new book, Seeking 74 Key Findings to Raise Your Energy, Sidestep Your Self-Doubt, and Align with Your Frequency.
I know that's on my book list. So all that information will be available on JJ's show page. You can go to themiracleyou.com, get that information, tap into this understanding that JJ brings to the world. And I highly recommend that you look at Seeking as something for maybe even a Christmas present for yourself. Once again, JJ, thank you so much. We appreciate you. On behalf of my wife, Mary, the entire team here at Imagine Miracles, we want to wish each and every one of you a miracle day.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleyou.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 mind-awakening steps toward your unique purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleyou.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.